Hello traders, this is Blake Morrow and you are listening to the daily Roundup webinar. Hope everybody's having a great trading session. And we are obviously into the last day of the quarter, last day of the month. We've seen a lot of activity. You probably just saw an alert come up on the Euro Aussie. I actually just exited this. I was long at 179.07. Down here, just exited as we were in the 90s here. So it was a nice trade. I've got myself in a little bit of a pickle. I've got U.S. dollar Canadian long, not a huge position, but my position is like right 170, 175. So it's like right here. I bought some as we hit the 38% retracement. When we dipped down below 31 or 141, I bought some more, and so kind of it's still not a very big position, but it's something I'm trying to wiggle myself out of with the dollar Canadian. We came down. So let's talk about some of these moves that we've seen in the FX market. The US dollar Canadian actually hit channel resistance, and when we hit channel resistance and we came off towards the 38% retracement, I thought, wow, we're going to probably see a little bit of a bounce here. That obviously has not come to fruition. So it continued lower. Now we are firming up a little bit here, which is good. The problem with the, hold on really quick. The problem is that that if stocks stay weak, I say the problem, it's good for me. As long as stocks stay weak, the dollar Canadian will probably bid back up. But you have to look at a longer term. I'm kind of staring at it more of a bull flag pattern. So I don't mind being long, and I'm looking at it something like this. So, if we do at some point break above this 143.30, it's going to be a very bullish response for this particular for this particular pair. Like I said, let me just put it this way. I don't think it's going to do it today. Obviously, this is a big rejection. So we're going to have to do a little bit of work around here with the dollar Canadian, probably do some consolidation work before it even has the chance to break out. However, I do think that the risk is that it does eventually move higher. Now, there's other things that are going on, regarding the rest of the majors. One of them is the euro bounce back. We hit this is the underside of the broken trend line. So do you see that? The thing is the Fed opened up another repo operation for a lot of central banks, a lot of emerging market central banks. This is all very bearish the dollar. Now, that doesn't mean that the dollar can't rise in value, but what it is, though, it is very dollar negative eventually. So do I feel that the euro dollar is going to eventually go higher? The answer to that question is yes. I do feel that the euro dollar is going to eventually go higher. Technically, though, I'm a little worried that we might be capped here, near term, and we might come back down to like 109. I am actively looking for areas to be long the euro dollar. Speaking of being long short the dollar. Look at the cable. The cable's had a nice move out of this triangle pattern. I actually, I don't know how in the hell I ended up making money on this, but I shorted it at 124.07 when it dipped during the fix. When it dipped down to like 123.70 something, I closed it, and I made a quick 30 pips. But that was after being upside down like 40. So really horrible risk reward on my part. But I do want to point out that the let me get rid of this long-term fib. I want to point out that the cable, I think, has some unfinished business at 125, which is the 618 retracement of this entire move, right? So if you look at this entire move here, the 618 comes in at 125, let's just say roughly 125.15. Ultimately, I think that's where we're going. I wouldn't be surprised regarding the pound to see us push new highs here, not right at this moment, I'm just saying push new highs, hit the 618, and then reverse. Now, when I say new highs, it would be new trend highs, right? So just enough to squeeze out some people that are short and then, hit new highs and reverse. I'm actually looking at that now. Whether it happens or not is just something that I've got my eye on, that I'm looking for, near term. Um, the Aussie, it's been pretty well bid, but we came out of this ascending wedge and it is already starting to weaken here. It bounced back with equities, the end of quarter, end of month move, but the Aussie still looks pretty weak. A break below the 60-50, 60-60 level is going to trigger some selling, in my opinion. And if you look at currencies like the Euro Aussie, even though I just got out, it still looks really, really strong. It looks like it still wants to go higher. Kiwi looks pretty weak here. Dollar Canadian, making a little bit of headway, which is good. I'm happy about that. Hopefully that dollar Canadian makes it back above 142 here shortly, and then I'm gonna take some profits and reevaluate what I'm doing. A couple of the other currencies that I'm surprisingly weak is the US dollar Mexican peso. I'm surprised this currency is as weak as it is right now, or the pair is as weak as it is right now. Same with the US dollar Norwegian krona. You look at the US dollar Norwegian krona, we got smacked right back down to support. Now, we aren't moving here yet, but I'm looking at, you notice I drew the box below the where we're horizontal support. That's because support is actually at 10.30, which is the 618 retracement. I wouldn't be surprised if we, press below those lows first before bouncing. But, the dollar Norwegian krona is a little weaker. US dollar Swedish krona reversed pretty aggressively today, during the fix. And one of the other pairs that I guess you should, pay attention to is the dollar yen. It got slammed down, but it looks like we're finding a little support here. Overall, guys, it was a pretty mixed bag today for the market during this end of month, end of quarter. One thing that I will point out with the S&P, and I have to point this out, that there's and I was reading a note from Wells Fargo, and I'll kind of summarize it for you. It's basically what I said this morning, and let me just point out that the S&P is stalling at the 38% retracement, or the neckline of this inverted head and shoulder pattern. One of the head of automated trading or something like that at Wells Fargo is like, look, everybody's looking for this big end of month, end of quarter move, but in all actuality, a lot of that buying and a lot of that selling, a lot of that buying, a lot of that selling already took place, or pension rebalancing took place during the earlier in the week. So if you're expecting this big move, a lot of people were buying into this, strength, thinking, oh man, here we're going to get end of month buying in the S&P. It's going to take us a lot higher. Fact of the matter is, when we were down, down at these levels last week, this is where a lot of the rebalancing already took place. So, I think that's one of the things that's weighing on the market. Jerry said, Blake, you were talking about strong dollar today. Yeah, I was thinking, well, those are the reports that I read, and that's why I actually went short the cable at 124.07, right where we're at earlier today. And that's why I was actually playing the dollar Canadian to the long side, is because I'm like, okay, fix, we're going to get some dollar buying. Now, that doesn't mean that dollar buying is not going to come. I mean, it's starting to come right now. Look at the dollar is actually, firming up off these lows. But the FX market kind of played a number on us today. So hold on one second. That's my office. Sorry. So anyway, the reports that I read from the banks that the dollar buying was going to come in today, it didn't come in during the fix, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Not now that they kind of got the market a little sideways, they're coming in and buying dollars now. So, it's tricky. End of month, end of quarter, they're always tricky flows. I try to play into them if I can strategically find a good place. I did for the pound. Well, actually, really wasn't a good location. I'm surprised I made money. And then for the dollar Canadian, it was a poor location too. I'm profitable now in my dollar CAD, but I started buying way too early. I didn't pick up these lows. My average is just below where we're currently at. So anyway, yeah, I tried to play into some of the flows that I thought were coming, and Yeah, I didn't time them very well. But I'm sure a lot of people got stuck on the wrong side. Anyway, hey guys, I want to say today is the last day of that you can listen live to the daily roundup webinar if you are not part of the ForexAnalytix community. You'll still be able to listen to this webinar. It'll just be a couple hours late. So, but if you want to be part of our community, this is the last day of this offer. So join us. And if you don't, then I'll see you a couple hours after the fact. Well, or I'll see you on the face webinar tomorrow morning. So you guys have a great one. Thanks for tuning in, and all my best to you guys. Stay safe, wash your hands, and stay away from people, except your family.